Good morning, world. Good morning. I'm thankful for y'all because these little sessions have become a great part of my therapy. I'm seeing things just like you're seeing things that I'm sure cause a great deal of internal angst. Uh, Man, I'll talk about police and policing today. And this is brought on by the case of Elijah McClain and also about the Wilmington, North Carolina situation. You know, um, in a sense, I kind of want to say, we told you so. And I tell you who I'm really, probably my main target audience is here is like those who still don't believe. And I know some of them probably won't see this, because not that they won't see it, but they won't see it live. It'll take for y'all to share it and share it and share it and share it for it to get to some of them who still at this point don't believe that there needs to be police reform in the United States, and those at this point who still don't believe that there's a serious racial problem in this country, for those who still don't believe there's systemic racism, for those who believe that the status quo is America, and this country needs to stay right here. I'm going to start with the case in Wilmington, North Carolina. I was going to post several things about it on my Facebook page, but I just haven't yet because I just couldn't get all my thoughts together. And I'm still getting my thoughts together as I'm talking to you, to be quite honest with you. I know what I'm thinking. I'm trying to be responsible in how I communicate it. That's a better way of putting it. I have very strong thoughts, very clear thoughts, but I'm trying to be responsible in how I communicate it. Uh, the nastiness that came out of the mouths of those police officers in Wilmington, North Carolina, is no shock to the Black community. I'm sure that is no shock to the Latino community. And really, it's no shock to racists. It is a shock to people who falsely believe that everybody who puts on the uniform and a badge and straps on that pistol belt or that utility belt is honorable. That's just not the case. All of them are not honorable. What I find really disturbing is, if my information is correct, I believe that all three of those officers were veterans of the Wilmington, North Carolina Police Department. From what I understand, all of them have been on the police department since the 1990s. So you're talking about 20 plus years of service per officer, if my information is correct. I find it very difficult to believe that in all those years of service, nobody knew their views about blacks. And I do not believe, as they have said, that those comments were brought on by stress. I have been under all kind of stress. Okay. And when you're stressed, what's in you gonna come out. It's just like being inebriated. You know, they say alcohol is truth serum. Yeah, you don't get inebriated and just all of a sudden become a new person. No, what's in you comes out. Same thing with stress. What's in you comes out, good, bad, or otherwise. That type of black heartedness and racial hatred is part of who they are. And we've been screaming this for years because we know, because they spew it on us. And then they play nice around the others who don't know who they are. But I don't believe that nobody in the Wilmington Police Department didn't know who they were. And this is why we're marching, man. Hey, this is snitch season if you're police. If you really want to save your department, If you really want to pitch in and try to fix what's going on in this country, you better start snitching on them jokers who you know ain't right. They're gonna be the cause of a lot of sadness in this country, and I'm trying to be responsible in how I communicate. And you're gonna let it happen if you don't tell it. Snitch, tell on them. We must get them out of there. And it's not just a racial problem. With the police, you have a brutality problem. All of that brutality is not necessarily stirred up by racism. Some of these people have a problem with authority. I think some have forgotten that they are public servants. And the emphasis there is on servant. Do you have a servant's heart or do you have the heart of a tyrant? When you get ready for your shift, are you coming on to serve the public and to protect? Are you coming on to bust some heads and go get you one today? That would be the problem. I see you, Kashif. You want to have a discussion with me? That's good. We can have one. Let's hook up for an interview. We'll do it on interview. Um, we got a problem now with racism with the police. We got a problem with an authority problem. You look at the situation. I'm gonna come back to that Williamson incident, but with that young man Elijah McClain, the way the police handle people, and especially black people, there's a certain amount of violence and brutality that just should not be exercised on unarmed citizens. That young man was walking home from the store, and I'm really tripping on whoever the dude was that called the police. What was he doing to you, sir? He looked sketchy. Some of y'all call the police for everything, and you don't know that you weaponizing the police to kill folks. Man, y'all gotta stop calling the police for everything, man. My heart is so broken behind this stuff, and I'm so glad that I'm a mature man and that I love Christ. The older version has been a little different. I wouldn't been talking to y'all here. Be doing some crazy stuff. I understand the rage of those that's burning stuff up. I do not encourage it. I do not condone it. But man, come on, man. And this stuff is going to start coming out because I believe that these agencies are going to start to cleanse themselves. There's a whole bunch of tape out there that we ain't seen yet. There's a whole bunch of footage on these dash cams for police and these body cams that we haven't seen yet. There's a whole lot of it. And you're going to start seeing the same thing as the same thread, brutality. And let me make my disclaimer because I know if I don't make this disclaimer, some people are going to brand me to be something that I am not. I am not for abolishing police. I don't even like to use the word defund. To me, that term does not encapsulate what I feel. I feel that we have to reimagine policing in this country. It ain't working the way that it is. It ain't working. Now, I want the police to be the police, but I need for the police to understand you're not the entire justice system. You're not the judge, the jury, the prosecution. Come on, man. You're the first line of defense for a lot of citizens. And once again, I really do tip my hat to all the good, honorable, honest police. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. And I'm praying for you during this time because you're dealing with a lot of stress, the stress of your job and the stress of a nation that the nation has put upon you. I pray that you continue to serve with honor and dignity. I really do. I pray for the safety of you and your families. I really, really do. And in that prayer, I'm praying that your heart be moved to tell on them jokers who you know ain't right. Bump that blue line. Bump that garbage. Tell on them jokers. You got to get them jokers away from you so we can finally have peace around here. I know that thing with Mr. Elijah happened last year, but it's new to us because, we didn't know about it. And why did it take so long for Colorado to do something? If it were not for the international media pressure, we may not be here. How many more cases? And this is what we're in the streets for. We're trying to tell the world this has been happening to us. And ain't nobody believing us. And there's more that's going to come out. I'm telling you, this ain't new. I don't believe that there's the majority of police who are behaving like this, but I have a sad response for those who keep saying it's just a few. I don't agree. I don't agree. I think you got more than a few problems, and it's greater than just racial. There's a problem with authority. Some of these jokers have a God complex when they put that badge and that gun on, and you're not God. You're the police. You're a public servant. You work for us, man. You work for us. Gee whiz. Police and policing. There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. And we got to have a national conversation about doing this a better way. And it's already happening. It's already happening. I'm working with some groups up here in Northern Virginia. We're having great success so far and having the conversation. And the next step is legislation, not suggestions, real legislation with real teeth that make it the law that there has to be change. And it's not going to happen overnight because even after you make the change by legislation, you still got black hearts in some of these public servants. And part of my prayer, oh my God, I really do hope there's a mass resignation of jokers who realize that they ain't right. I'm so serious. You realize that you are racist, when you realize that you really do have a violence problem. I'm talking about the police now. You realize you do have a brutality problem. You realize your heart ain't right. I hope that you resign because you part of the problem. We get some more folks that can do that job, but we we got to get these jokers out of here who ain't right. And I do realize that part of the problem is the training. Part of the problem is not the individual police officers and sheriff's deputies. Part of the problem is the training, the way that we train, the idea of policing. And I ain't trying to give criminals a break either. There's a place for criminals, and it's called incarceration. Criminals don't get a break. But in saying that, we also got to understand that there's a reason for some of the crime, and that's a bigger, broader discussion. Once again, one of the reasons why we're marching. So I'm hoping that the stuff that I'm saying is helpful. I really do. I'm not trying to come on to just vent. I'm trying to have dialogue, trying to have a conversation, man. I'm so frustrated by this stuff. How many more? How many more? And part of our frustration is how many times we got to just be doing regular stuff that white folks can do, and the police don't mess with them. But we can't do without engagement of law enforcement. And many times that turn bad. What's the problem, man? What's the problem? Because I agree with you. Prison industrial complex. That's another thing that has to be part of the movement. We got to deal with the prison problem in this country. It's a problem. Crime. I don't know if the prison problem might be greater than the crime problem. You and I are going to need to have a discussion. I think I'm going to make you part of a panel, and we're going to have a discussion about this. So, for the audience who's looking, look for this. I'm going to do this on Carl's Conversations. This probably will not be part for the community. Certain parts of it. But when I go to Carl's Conversation, I'm a little freer to deal with a broader range of subjects. So I'm gonna put together some panels, and y'all hit me up if you want to be a part. I want to have a conversation, and not just my black family friends. I want my white brothers and sisters who want to be a part of the conversation, and don't think that you have to agree to be a part of the conversation because your disagreement with some things I say may be part of the healing. Maybe we need to hear a different opinion. So hit me up, inbox me, text me, call me, let me know. Hey, I want to be part of the conversation. We got to talk about this stuff. All right. So I just want to take a few minutes to get it off my chest and be a part of the dialogue. So I thank you all for listening, and may God bless us all. This thing is a complex issue, and it's going to take our unity, our strength, our fortitude, and some time. May God bless us all. Until the next conversation, have a great day. Have a great weekend.